Reacher isn't just another action hero. He's the man who walks into the fire when everyone else runs away. And with Season 4 on the horizon, the question is simple. What unfinished business is calling him back this time? Jack Reacher is a name that has become bigger than just a character from Lee Child's best-selling novels. In the world of television, he's now a symbol of justice, power, and the kind of raw determination we rarely see in modern heroes. Season 3 reminded us exactly why Reacher is a force to be reckoned with. It wasn't just about fists flying and bones breaking, it was about loyalty, betrayal, and the price of standing up for what's right. Let's rewind for a moment and look back at where we left Reacher. The third season took us deep into a world of military secrets, government cover-ups, and old scars that never fully healed. We saw Reacher pulled into a case that struck closer to home than ever before. His military past, something he can never fully escape, came crashing into his present, forcing him to revisit relationships that were built on trust but shattered by betrayal. Every step he took revealed darker truths, every punch thrown carried the weight of justice, and every decision reminded us that Reacher's code isn't about following the law, it's about following what's right. Season 3 also gave us an insight into Reacher's mind. He's not just a man who can take down an enemy twice his size. He's a thinker, a strategist, and above all, someone who cannot look away when injustice stares him in the face. Whether it was solving complex puzzles or unraveling a conspiracy, Reacher reminded us that brains and brawn can go hand in hand. This balance is what sets him apart from other action heroes. He doesn't fight for fame, power, or money. He fights because his conscience won't let him do otherwise. The finale of Season 3 left viewers both satisfied and curious. Reacher may have won the battle, but his war is never truly over. Each season shows us that his journey is more than just a series of cases. It's a never-ending road where danger lurks in every corner. The enemies may change, but the pattern remains the same. Reacher walks alone and trouble always finds him. That closing moment of the season made one thing crystal clear. Reacher is never done. There will always be another call, another fight, another mystery waiting for him in the shadows, and that's where Season 4 steps in. Fans are already buzzing with questions. What's the next case? Who are the allies he can trust this time? What kind of enemy will test his limits both physically and mentally? Season 3 proved that the show isn't afraid to get gritty, emotional, and raw, but it also raised the stakes. Reacher's legend continues to grow, and every new season pushes him into a deeper storm of justice and vengeance. This is why Season 4 isn't just another chapter. It feels like the next big test for Jack Reacher, the kind that will force him to look deeper into his past, confront new dangers, and show us once again why he isn't just a hero, but a symbol of unbreakable strength. The anticipation is high, the theories are endless, and the one thing we know for sure is this: when Reacher returns, the fight will be bigger, the enemies will be tougher, and the story will cut even deeper into the heart of what makes him unstoppable. Asterisk. Every season of Reacher isn't just about fists, fights, and takedowns. At its core, each season is built on a mystery, a case that drags Jack Reacher into a storm he never asked for, but one he refuses to walk away from. And that's what makes Season 4 so fascinating. It's not just about where Reacher is heading next, but why this story matters more than ever before. If we look at the rhythm of the show so far, each season has pulled inspiration from one of Lee Child's novels, reshaping it into a gripping TV story. Season 1 followed Killing Floor, and Season 2 leaned into Bad Luck and Trouble. Season 3 continued that pattern, drawing from another one of Reacher's thrilling adventures. That pattern suggests Season 4 will once again reach into Child's library to find the perfect story that matches Reacher's journey at this point. And here's the interesting part: Reacher's cases aren't random. Each one ties into a bigger picture: the scars of his military past, the broken systems he can't ignore, and the villains who think they can outsmart a man who always finds the truth. So what's waiting in Season 4? The clues point toward another story that blends corruption, betrayal, and high stakes with Reacher's brutal sense of justice. Unlike detectives who chase cases, Reacher's stories always begin with him stumbling into trouble. He doesn't have a badge, he doesn't take orders, and he doesn't need a paycheck. He walks into towns like a shadow, and somehow, trouble always finds him. This is exactly why the setup of Season 4 will be unique. It's not just Reacher versus the bad guy. It's Reacher stepping into a mess that forces him to pick apart lies, connect dots nobody else can see, and strike fear into enemies who underestimate him. Thematically, Season 4 is shaping up to be darker, grittier, and more personal. The writers know fans expect more than action. They want depth. We've already seen how Reacher's moral code isn't about following rules. It's about writing his own. Season 4 could push him into a situation where even his unshakable code is tested. What happens when justice isn't clear? What if saving one person means sacrificing another? What if the people he trusts most become part of the problem? These are the kinds of questions that make a Reacher story more than just a fight scene. It makes it a psychological chess game. Another fascinating angle is the military connection. Reacher's past always lingers like a shadow, and in almost every season, pieces of his service creep back into play. Old allies, enemies in uniform, or the weight of unfinished missions, it always comes back to him. Season 4 might dig even deeper into that world, exploring not just Reacher the lone wanderer, but Reacher the soldier who never fully left the battlefield. That setup instantly raises the stakes, because it means the people on the other side of the fight aren't just street-level thugs. They're trained, disciplined, and just as dangerous as him. That's when Reacher truly gets tested, when he faces people who understand how he thinks, how he fights, and how relentless he is. But Season 4 won't just be about enemies. The setup promises new allies, too. And in a Reacher story, allies are rarely what they seem. Some will help, others will betray, and a few will fall in the crossfire. That unpredictability is what makes the narrative so gripping. The writers have a chance to play with those expectations, giving Reacher someone he can trust, only to twist that trust into heartbreak. The tone will also matter. Season 4 is expected to lean into a mood that feels heavier than before. The violence will be brutal, the betrayals will cut deep, and the mystery will keep fans second-guessing until the very end. This isn't just about Reacher solving another case, it's about pulling him into a firestorm that will leave scars. Even for a man who seems unbreakable. At the heart of it, the Season 4 story setup is about one simple truth: you can't escape who you are. Reacher left the military, left the rules, left the life of order behind. But no matter where he goes, the world keeps dragging him back into conflict. Season 4 promises to be a story where Reacher once again proves that being a drifter doesn't mean drifting away from responsibility. It means standing tall in the face of chaos, even when he could walk away. So as the story gears up, one thing is certain: Season 4 won't be just another mission. It'll be a test of Reacher's code, his strength, and his ability to survive in a world that never lets him rest. Asterisk, when we talk about Reacher, we're not just talking about a lone drifter knocking out villains with a single punch. The cast around him is just as important as the man himself, because every ally, every villain, and every stranger he meets shapes the road ahead. And Season 4 promises to bring a mix of familiar faces and dangerous new arrivals who will test Reacher like never before. First, let's talk about the anchor of the series, Alan Ritchson as Jack Reacher. At this point, Ritchson has cemented himself as the definitive version of the character. He's got the towering presence, the quiet intensity, and the sharp intelligence that fans of Lee Child's novels always imagined. His performance blends physical intimidation with a surprising level of restraint. Reacher doesn't waste words, doesn't show off, and doesn't make threats he can't deliver. And in Season 4, Ritchson will once again carry that balance between brain and brawn, making him the immovable center of the storm. Every fight, every stare, every moment of silence speaks volumes, and that's why his presence alone is enough to keep fans locked in. But what's a hero without the people around him? The series has always done a great job of surrounding Reacher with allies who challenge him, question him, and sometimes betray him. In Season 3, we saw that dynamic at full force: friends from the past who carried scars of their own. People who knew Reacher as a soldier, not just a wanderer. Now, Season 4 is expected to build on that idea, bringing back some familiar faces, while introducing new ones who will either fight beside him or stand directly in his way among the returning cast. There's strong speculation that characters like Neegly, played by Maria Sten, could reappear. She's been one of the most trusted allies in Reacher's world, a voice of reason, a skilled fighter, and someone who understands him in ways most people don't. Her presence always adds depth because she's not just muscle. She's strategy. Having her back in Season 4 could give Reacher a partner can rely on when the shadows grow darker. Then there are the new arrivals. Reacher thrives on fresh blood characters who walk into the story with mystery, charm, or menace. In Season 4, fans can expect at least one major antagonist who will try to match Reacher not just in strength, but in cunning. The show has been clever with its villains, never making them cartoonish or one-dimensional. They are usually powerful people hiding behind layers of lies, using money, politics, or military power to cover their crimes. Season 4's villain could easily be someone who forces Reacher to dig deeper, someone who doesn't go down with just a punch, but who needs to be outsmarted. That's when we see Reacher at his most dangerous, not when he's fighting, but when he's thinking. Another element that keeps the cast compelling is the unpredictability of side characters. Every season introduces people who at first seem helpful, only to reveal their darker intentions. A friendly sheriff could turn out corrupt, a loyal soldier could switch sides, and a vulnerable witness could be hiding the biggest secret of all. These twists are part of the DNA of Reacher. They make the story feel alive, keeping audiences questioning who they can trust right alongside the main character. Season 4 will almost certainly continue that tradition, filling the cast with people who blur the lines between ally and enemy. Relationships will also play a bigger role this season. Reacher is not the type to settle down, but that doesn't mean he's free from connections. Old flames, fellow soldiers, or even strangers with shared trauma, these characters often push him into moments of rare vulnerability. While he rarely shows emotion, the people close to him remind us that beneath the hard exterior, there's still a man who carries the weight of every person he couldn't save. In Season 4, the cast around him might be the key to revealing even more of those hidden layers, but let's not forget, this is Reacher. And in the world of Reacher, no cast list is complete without a lineup of thugs, mercenaries, and shadowy operatives who exist for one reason: to underestimate him. The fun of the show is watching these characters laugh at the drifter with no ID, only to realize too late they're facing the deadliest man they'll ever meet. Season 4 supporting cast will almost certainly include a wave of such challengers, each serving as a reminder of why Reacher's legend continues to grow with every fight. In the end, the cast of Reacher is like the battlefield itself, full of shifting alliances, hidden traps, and unexpected betrayals. With Alan Ritchson at the center, the returning allies sharpening the edges, and the new villains raising the stakes, Season 4's character lineup is shaping up to be the most explosive yet. Every face will matter, every conversation will carry weight, and every betrayal will cut deeper than the last, because in Reacher's world, people aren't just background, they're the very fuel that sets the fire burning. And Season 4 is about to light that fire brighter than ever. Asterisk, every time a new season of Reacher is announced, fans don't just ask, what's the story? They ask, how far will Reacher go this time? Because at the core of this series is a simple truth: each season pushes Jack Reacher further into the fire. Each case is bigger, bloodier, and more personal. And Season 4? It's already shaping up to be the most dangerous storm yet. What makes the future of Reacher so thrilling is the way the show builds tension. It doesn't rely on endless car chases or mindless explosions. Instead, it plants seeds of suspense and lets them grow until the tension is unbearable. Fans can expect Season 4 to lean hard into this formula. The case Reacher will face won't just test his fists. It will test his mind, his morals, and the very code he lives by. That's what keeps people glued to their screens, not just the action, but the question, will Reacher bend, or will he break? Looking ahead, one of the biggest expectations is how closely Season 4 will stick to the novels. Lee Child's books have a massive following, and so far, the show has been smart about honoring the source material while also adapting it for television. If the pattern continues, Season 4 will draw from another iconic Reacher story, one that fans have been waiting years to see brought to life. That means more layered mysteries, more corrupt officials hiding behind power, and more villains who think they're untouchable. Until Reacher comes knocking, and let's not forget about tone. If Season 3 raised the stakes, Season 4 has to raise them even higher. This isn't just about Reacher solving another problem. It's about him being dragged into a fight that could leave scars not only on his enemies but on him as well. Fans expect darker storytelling, heavier emotions, and more shocking betrayals. After all, Reacher's life is never clean. It's messy, it's violent, and it always comes at a cost. The question now is, what price will he pay in the next chapter? Another big expectation revolves around the villains. Every season so far has given us enemies who weren't just obstacles but symbols of something larger: corruption, greed, abuse of power. Season 4 will need to deliver an antagonist who can stand shoulder to shoulder with Reacher in intensity. Not necessarily in size or strength, but in intellect, influence, and ruthlessness. The greatest villains are the ones who believe they're the hero of their own story, and that's exactly the kind of opponent fans want to see Reacher face. Someone who won't just fall after a punch, but who forces him to play the long game using every ounce of wit and strategy he has. Of course, expectations aren't just about the fight. Fans are also eager to see more of Reacher's humanity. Beneath the unstoppable exterior, he's still a man haunted by his past, shaped by his military years and driven by an unshakable moral compass. Season 4 could explore deeper emotional territory, showing us what happens when Reacher's code is tested in ways it never has been before. Will he be forced to compromise? Will he finally meet someone who makes him question the path he's chosen? Those are the questions that could give the season its emotional punch. There's also the fan excitement around world building. With each season, Reacher isn't just telling a standalone story. It's building a legend. Viewers want to see connections to past cases, hints at future ones, and maybe even cameos or nods to characters from other novels. The more the show expands its universe, the more invested fans become. Season 4 has the opportunity to thread those elements together, making the story not just another case, but another piece of Reacher's larger journey. Finally, what fans want most is simple. They want Reacher to surprise them. They want the moment where the mystery suddenly clicks, the fight that leaves them gasping, the twist they never saw coming. Season 4 carries the weight of expectation, but it also carries the freedom to shock and reinvent. That's what makes the future so exciting. Nobody, ally, villain, or viewer ever truly knows what Reacher will do next. And that unpredictability is his greatest weapon. So, what's next? Expect a story that cuts deeper, villains who fight harder, and choices that weigh heavier than ever before. Expect action that doesn't just entertain, but that leaves you thinking about what justice really means. And above all, expect Jack Reacher to walk into another town, another storm, and another impossible fight, because that's who he is. The man who doesn't run. The man who doesn't quit. The man who always answers the call. Season 4 isn't just another chapter. It's the next test of the legend. And if history has taught us anything, it's that when Reacher shows up, the world better be ready,